Let's get into the latest NFL news and rumors. Mitchell Rentz from Chat Sports, and we're going to talk about the biggest topic right now circulating around the NFL. No, it's not that Antonio Brown finally put a shirt on. It's around Jim Harbaugh, Michigan football head coach. The issue is this. Is he going to be the head coach of the Wolverines for all that long? So there was a report that came out yesterday that said that Harbaugh could return to the National Football League. I follow this guy on Twitter. His name's James Yoder. Maybe you guys do. He said absolutely not going to happen. And then here's the thing. Now, there's that old saying, where there is smoke, there is fire. And more people that actually I would say are pretty credible are saying that, hey, Harbaugh could actually return to the National Football League. Today on The Herd, Colin Cowherd, he went ahead and said that he could actually see him moving on, and if he were to leave, he would be the #1 head coach candidate out there. When I see something like that, I was like, oh, wow, okay. It's pretty surprising. He was the 49ers head coach from 2011 to 2014, and he had a 44-19-1 record. And actually, one of those seasons, he led that team to the Super Bowl. You don't really see too often the coaches that have success in the NFL and coaches that have some success even in college football. So when you have both of those, I can understand the idea of it being very intriguing. Now, personally, when I first saw this report, I was like, there is no way that Harbaugh is going to leave Michigan. Now, though, I've heard some other opinions. I've seen some other people talk about it. Is now the perfect time to do it. You just won the Big Ten. You beat Ohio State. Are you basically hitting the highest that you're ever going to be? Some people might disagree with me. They're probably Michigan fans. But since Harbaugh's been at Michigan back in 2015, 10-3. 2016, they went 10-3. 2017, 8-5. And then their last 4 seasons, 10-3, 9-4. I'll pretend I don't have 20/20 vision to see that record. And then this past season, 12-1, making it to the college football playoff. Sure, they lost to Georgia, but the fact that you beat Ohio State, you won the Big Ten, and at least made it to the college football playoffs, I do think is very impressive. But then, if you're leaving college football, a lot of people, they're not going to talk about that anymore. They're going to talk about your past success when you were the head football coach up in the San Francisco 49ers, but with the 49ers. 2011, you were 13-3. 2012, 11-4. 2013, 12-4. 2014, 8-8. He never finished under 500, and there are tons, and I mean tons of NFL coaches, or I guess I should say college coaches, that literally have not done this well in the NFL. So here's going to be the question, and I want every single person that comes across this video, whether you're an NFL fan, whether you're a Michigan fan, maybe you're an Ohio State fan, I don't know, just chiming in. Will Jim Harbaugh leave the Michigan Wolverines to go coach in the National Football League yet again? If you're like, you know what, man, I think so, I want you to go ahead and type Y for yes. If you don't like typing Y for yes or N for no, go talk to Marshall Green. Now let me know, Y for yes, N for no, will Jim Harbaugh leave Michigan to coach in the NFL? I'm going to make this the pinned comment of today's video, so scroll on down and let me know. Now here's the quote from Bruce Feldman on Harbaugh, and this is what I think really started to ramp up some of these rumors because he's a pretty credible guy. I'd always heard from people who know him well that they thought at some point he was going to go back to the National Football League. I didn't think he would leave Michigan knowing he'd never won the game that matters the most against Ohio State. But now he's done that, won the Big Ten. It feels like the timing might be right. So that's from Bruce Feldman. He broke it all down in a recent article that basically said that, hey, yeah, you could see Harbaugh potentially go back. Now, we're going to break down some teams around Harbaugh that he could potentially head to. I don't want to totally spoil all of those yet, but one of the things that I do want to tell you guys about is today's show sponsor, BetUS. Whether you want to bet on NFL games, whether you want to bet on NFL Week 18, whether you want to bet on college football, Alabama and Georgia, you can go ahead and do so at the link that you see below, chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code NFL Daily. It's going to get you 125% deposit bonus. So what the heck does that mean exactly? Imagine a world where you could put down $100, you get $125 for free to bet with. You can actually be a big baller. Put down $500, get $625 for free to bet with. It's so easy to use that even Jim Harbaugh, the guy who still wants to be connected to a cord, he even uses it. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code NFL Daily. Let's keep on breaking this down here around Harbaugh and him potentially returning to the NFL. According to the report, and it sounds like right now the top 2 favorites to get old Jim if he heads back to the NFL, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Chicago Bears. The Raiders moved on from their head coach earlier in the season, Jon Gruden, when the whole email scandal came around. And even though Matt Nagy has yet to be fired by the Chicago Bears, I'm not an idiot. He's not going to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. Now, his coaching career started with the Raiders back in 2003 when he was a quarterback coach, and it's been long talked about the relationship between Raiders owner Mark Davis and Harbaugh. And then when you look at Chicago, he first played with them back in, I believe, 1987. He was a first-round pick, I believe, number 26 overall. So he has some connections with both of those teams there. Now, here's the thing about Chat Sports, which is why we are the best YouTube channel for sports content. I don't know about you, but when I go to a family reunion, when I go talk to people at a bar, heck, even when I sit here at work, I like to talk about sports. Now, let's say you're Jim Harbaugh. Where would you go? Would you stay at Michigan? I want you to go ahead and type M-I-C-H. If you're like, you know what, I think it's time now, I'm going to head over to the Las Vegas Raiders. I want you to go ahead and spam LV. If you think it's going to be the Chicago Bears, type CHI. If you want to be an overachiever, which, I'll be honest, I wasn't in school, but I would appreciate it if you were. Let me know why you would choose each of these teams or why you would stay with Michigan. Now, if Jim Harbaugh does end up leaving, I'm going to tell you this right now. We're going to be making a video on this channel. So what I want you guys to do is hit the subscribe button. It's that big red button underneath the video. If you're like, Mitch, I am already subscribed. Well, that's great. Can you check something else for me? Can you see if your notifications are turned on? It's literally a bell right next to that sub button. Click that, click all. That way, if we go ahead and we go live, or if we're doing NFL Daily like you see right now, you're not going to miss it. So please hit that big red button and subscribe. Now, if you're probably wondering, all right, well, give me some scenarios why it would either be good or bad to go to the Chicago Bears. Here are some of the pros and cons that I have. You got a young quarterback in Justin Fields that you can hopefully mold. I personally still believe that Justin Fields has a lot of talent. And, well, Harbaugh's definitely seen plenty of Fields playing against him at Ohio State. And if you put him in the right offense, you put the offensive line around him, I still think that Fields is going to be a good guy. It's just, Matt Nagy sucks. He's going to have a lot of control over the roster, which if I was Harbaugh and if I was leaving the Wolverines, that's something that I would absolutely want. I would want a lot of control over the entire roster. The bad pick, you don't have any first-round picks because you trade them away to go get Fields. And not that I don't think it's a super talented roster, but compared to a lot of other NFL teams, it's not that talented. Another pro would be this. If Aaron Rodgers leaves the Green Bay Packers, as far as I'm concerned, that division is wide open. Let's go to the Raiders here, pros and cons. You got a lot of young talent, and when I consider a lot of young talent, I'm talking about some cornerstone pieces. Still, Yannick Ngakoue, sure, Denzel Perriman's 29, Darren Waller, Max Crosby. You even got some of these other guys. Hunter Renfro's an absolute monster, I would say. Derek Carr. So one of the big guys, or one of the main points that Colin Cowherd continues to make is you got a good veteran quarterback in Derek Carr. Maybe Harbaugh wants somebody that's a veteran. If you want somebody that's a little bit more mobile, then you could see them move on. Here's the good part, though. Carr's got 1 year left on his contract, $19.9 million. So you could decide whether or not you want to keep him for 1 year or potentially move on. Cons? Las Vegas has definitely had their plenty of issues, not only just this season, but plenty of issues in the past with some offseason stuff. And I'm not 100% sure if he's going to have as much control on the football side, simply because of how much control they gave Jon Gruden and how much Mark Davis has already promised to Mike Mayock. Now, here's the other thing. We do have a really popular Michigan show on YouTube run by James Yoder. And not only are we we're 100% going to go live if Harbaugh leaves Michigan there as well. So not only do I want you to subscribe to Chat Sports, I also want you to go subscribe. So if there's a Michigan fan that comes across this video and you're like, wait a minute, you have a Michigan-only YouTube channel? Yes, the answer is yes. So go ahead, subscribe, youtube.com/MichiganTV.